Alright, you know who. Huge movie fanatic Nate coming right back at you with yet another fantastic, hopefully fantastic, I don't know yet because I haven't reviewed it yet, I'm just starting, hopefully fantastic movie review. This time I'm coming at you with a review for probably one of the bigger, higher profile movies of the summer, one of the summer movies that basically started the summer on May 1st. The motion picture Avengers ... or whatever the hell it's called, Age of Ultron, opened in theaters across the whatever country, world. I don't know if it opened around the world the same day. Regardless, it opened around the country that time. Now, if you watch me and Matt's, Avengers review back in 2012 or whenever the hell the first Avengers came out, you'll know that I wasn't particularly blown away with the Avengers. I felt like, I guess I shouldn't probably review that movie now, but in short, I guess I felt like, which was inevitable, the movie was just kind of about, the first part of it was just about recruiting, and it just felt like trying to stuff way too many characters into a movie, which I think it did. And it just felt like, for me, it didn't really have a whole lot of space to breathe, and it was just cram-packed way too much with shit. Like, it would have been ideal somehow if they could have introduced all the characters in a non-Avengers movie, maybe at the end of some other Marvel movie, and then that way they could have been introduced and ready to go in the first Avengers movie, which is what I like about the second Avengers movie, Age of Ultron. I mean, although I don't necessarily love when a movie just starts with kind of slam-bang action necessarily, but whatever. What I do like about the sequel, the second Avengers movie, is that the characters are all, they're assembled in this movie, and it's not, half of the movie isn't about recruiting them and, okay, it's time to go get the Hulk now, and okay, Captain America's got to meet this guy, and oh geez, Thor's got to come down for this, meeting or whatever. And that's what I appreciate about Avengers Age of Ultron, is the fact that, like I've already said, how many times? that they're all familiar with each other at the beginning of the movie, and this kind of cool, action scene right at the beginning of the movie where they're trying to do, like I say, details are lost on me when I first see a movie or whatever. I gotta see it over and over to really get the grasp of something. I guess very much like the beginning of Captain America Winter Soldier, the beginning of this movie deals with the character who, in the grand scheme of the movie, is not necessarily important throughout the rest of the movie. It's kind of like a beginning of the movie villain kind of thing, like Captain America 2. So, at any rate, the opening action scene is kind of cool, and someone says, darn it, and Captain America is like, what, your language was kind of cool. One thing that's very cool for me, and Captain America is probably one of my, if not my favorite Avenger, just because of the era he comes from, the good old days of the 40s and stuff. One thing I love about, the portrayal, which is unfaltering throughout even the movie, even Captain America 2, which I wasn't particularly too keen on, is just the fantastic, unfaltering portrayal of what's his name? Steve Rogers, by whatever the hell his name is, who plays him. It's just unfaltering. Like, he never says anything that I feel like is out of Captain America character. I feel like they keep so. Anytime Chris Evans, anytime he's been on screen as Captain America, I just felt like it's just, as Captain America / Steve Rogers, I just felt like it's just perfect. It's perfect. Captain America is perfect. So, where was I? Oh yeah, the joke about watch your language and stuff, which kind of plays on a little bit throughout the movie. But long story short, I like this more than Avengers, the first Avengers movie, because I wasn't a big fan of Loki being the villain of the first one. I just thought, and all those kind of, which I said in that review, all these kind of generic, like generic robots and aliens and shit that showed up at the end of the movie. I'm like, we just need, non-human, non-living, people that the Avengers can smash and scrap and zap and just smash and crash and just destroy. We need some living organisms so we can stay PG-13, which of course, ultimately is exactly one of my problems with Avengers Age of Ultron, which is exactly what ends up happening at this movie. Of course, you have to have the inevitable non-living, just hordes and hordes of, robotic threat, alien / or robotic threat, alien in the first, robotic in this one or whatever, threat that you can just smash and crash and zap and fap and whap So you can, not be killing left and right living things, but so you can stay PG-13. So, long story short, I've already said it, I like this, without going into too much detail or whatever, I like this one more than the first Avengers. I felt like after the first action scene, which was really cool with that, and I do like that fast guy and that goth girl or whatever the hell their names are. And I love how the arc, I don't have to say spoiler review, because anyone who cares about this movie has seen it by now. And the thing I do like about the movie is that great arc where it's kind of like they're the bad guys at the beginning, and then they make this change of heart and they're the good guys at the beginning, or I mean at the end, and that's really cool. But I love how that character of the goth girl like turns, like affects Iron Man at the beginning, Tony Stark at the beginning, and he sees like all this shit, and of course which would never happen, the Cap shield, split in half, and just all the Avengers dead and shit and all that kind of crap. I felt like this movie, particularly after that, first action scene, I felt like this movie, and I really loved the beats after that first action scene as we continued the movie, and I felt like it really had a lot of space to breathe in the movie after the first action scene, and we do the joke and the fantastic scene about Thor, you're gonna come do whatever, come to the party, and yeah, this means rebels or whatever, and that kind of cool stuff. And then that one chick is like, will Thor be there? And it's just like, whatever. And that cool scene that we saw in the trailer months and months ago or whatever, which I thought was fantastic, about them just sitting around trying to pick up Thor's hammer, and that awesome awesome snippet of time where, of course Steve Rogers goes to pick it up, and it's just like everyone else doesn't move, doesn't budge whatsoever, and when Steve Rogers goes to pick it up, it moved, and Thor's like, oh shit, and I'm like, that's my Cap. I didn't say that, but in my mind I was like, yeah, if anyone's gonna pick it up or move it, it's gonna be Steve Rogers, baby. So I felt like this movie, unlike kind of the first one, had a lot more space to breathe, and I really, really appreciated that. To be honest, the stuff I liked most in the movie was the character development, the stuff that we got with whatever they have, Black Widow and the Hulk. That's another thing I loved after the first action scene. I love when they put classical music or opera in these I'm a big fan of classical music and opera, and I love anytime when a huge high-profile movie like this, that of course, I can't remember all their names, but Bruce Banner or whatever the hell his name is as the Hulk is listening to some great, fantastic operatic piece in the Avengers jet. Avengers plane back to wherever the hell they're going, and I thought that this is the first time we've seen, I think, the Hulk. I haven't seen the second Thor movie, but I can't imagine he's in there. I think this is the first time we've seen the Hulk since 2012, since the Avengers, as far as I know. And I thought that, what's his name, who played, Marco Ruffalo or whoever the hell played Bruce Banner in Avengers, was fantastic, and he continues to be fantastic and brainy, and fantastic portrayal of Bruce Banner in this movie as well, which I appreciated. Like I say, that one bit of operatic bit that was in the movie was appreciated by me. And that really cool thing at that same party, I like that party scene where it's like kind of Black Widow's Natasha is the bartender, and that flirty exchange between Natasha and we'll just say Black Widow and Hulk. I can't remember. I mean, not only is there, they each of them, there's so many of them, and they each have 2 names. It's just like, I can't do it. Or 3 names, because there's people who play the characters. So it's just like, I've only got so much mind space. So, long story short, like I said, I like this Avengers movie better than the first one. My biggest complaint about it is the inevitable end action scene where they have to come up with some kind of epic, never seen before, at the very least, never seen before very often, climactic end epic scene. And I kind of like the aspect of, which is it would be so nearly impossible, if not impossible, to actually jet propulsion a huge frickin' landmass, like a huge city up in the, I thought it was a pretty cool idea in retrospect to jet propel this whole city up into the whatever stratosphere, and only to jet it back down at meteor rocket speed to create a extinction level event or whatever. It's just kind of better than just some stupid atom bomb shit or some dumb crap like that. shit. I'm teetering between 2 and 3 4 stars and 3 stars. I think we'll just go for it and give it 3 stars. You'll know if you saw me and Matt's review for Avengers. I gave that 2.5, I think. I was gonna go 2 3/4 stars, but there's enough stuff that I really like in this movie. Enough character development, and I love that bit when that goth girl, it affects, I think, all Avengers, correct? If not all of them, most of them, all the Avengers with you know, their worst fears shit, and you see Thor doing whatever. And the thing I really love is seeing Cap back at the, you know, in the victory ball or whatever the hell it was back in the 40s, and for the first time we see like that girl from Captain America, you know, the first Avenger movie, the first Captain America movie, and it's just like, so that's kind of like his pain. It's kind of like Star Trek V when we see Bones and Spock's pain or whatever. Very cool, and I thought that was a great way to, you know, to delve into the characters, and to see Natasha's, you know, ballet, you know, assassin school shit, and whatever else we see. I can't remember if we see anything with Tony Stark. Can't remember what Tony's, oh, I don't know, yeah, well, his we see at the very beginning. I don't know if he gets zapped again or not, but... So, we're going to go 3 stars for Avengers Age of Ultron. It's actually the first movie that I've seen in a long time in the theater, more than once, I mean. Saw it twice. I'll probably see it if it comes to a second run theater again. I'm definitely going to buy, you know, 3D Blu-ray's probably only going to be like $20, and I hope that's going to come out in September, like, you know, last year's Captain America 2 did. So I thought, you know, it was actually a summer movie, a high-profile movie that I actually, like I say, it's 3 stars that I actually more or less enjoyed. Some of the action was kind of like, okay, yeah, you know, it's just like with what's his name, Hawkeye, and saving that kid, and it's kind of like what I said in my San Andreas review. It's like, yeah. Oh, I see, I'm on the boat now, the hover boat or whatever, and there's a kid, oh, mommy, and it's just like, yeah, great. I just would have, I don't know, that extra bit, you know, it's a big enough sprawling epic, you know, to just throw in like saving a kid to me is just like, whatever. But I was surprised how well, and I didn't even talk about how fantastic, I love the villain in this, how fantastic I thought James Spader's voice was. And, you know, I've always been a fan, like when I was a kid, of robots, and I would have loved this movie even more when I was 12, because I would have loved Ultron, just the idea of Ultron, and just James Spader's fantastic, you know, vocal portrayal of the character. Obviously, not being a comic book fan or anything like that, I can't comment on, you know, any, you know, variances between the source material in this movie, but I'm just commenting on the movie because I'm not a comic book fan. But Ultron, I thought was interesting in the movie, and how he, like, presumably killed Jarvis, and Matt's probably gonna have a problem with the fact that Jarvis was presumably killed, but at the end of the day he wasn't, and which is whatever, you know, you gotta do that, I guess, at least in once in one of these Marvel movies. But I also thought it was genius how they were building like that actual flesh body for Ultron, and that it turned out that the Avengers kind of commandeered it, and with the help of Thor or whatever, put this, you know, this character, which ends up looking like the guy who, of course, voices Jarvis, and just like this kind of super duper, whatever the hell he is, hero. I can't even know if he must have had a name, but whatever. And it's just like, I thought it was the best thing in the world, because they spent that whole scene setting up the hammer thing. So even if you hadn't seen a single Marvel movie and just went in seeing this, you'd know that joke, which of course when that Jarvis, we'll just call him, what's the name of that guy who he was or is married to Jennifer Connelly, whoever plays Jarvis, whatever. I don't know his name right off the top of my noggin, but how he's just like, okay, grabs the hammer and like hands it to Thor, let's go. And it's just like, everyone's just like, that was funny. I appreciated that. I was surprised in closing how such a huge, high-profile movie could actually end up being relatively fantastic in a like a spiritually, not in the sense of, like, you know, religious sense, but in a sense of just humanity, sense of being, you know, spiritually kind of satisfying. There's a lot of delving into the characters emotions, and even with Hawkeye and his, you know, reveal of his family and stuff, and the fact that we kind of showed that, you know, that she's like, their wife is like, oh, I hope they got your back, and it turns out that that fast guy did have his back, and all that kind of stuff that pays off, which of course is kind of cool. And like I say, my biggest problem with the movie is the inevitable end kind of epic sprawling action scene, which is just like yada yada yada, whatever. I think I pretty much covered all I have to say about Avengers Age of Ultron. My favorite summer movie blockbuster so far of the year. I'm expecting it to stay that way until I see Mission Impossible, whatever it is, 5. I expect that one to be my favorite summer movie. I'm expecting this to even out, you know, continue to like Avengers 2 more than Jurassic World as well. Definitely more than San Andreas, obviously. So thank you very much for watching. Feel free to leave your comments on what you thought about Avengers Age of Ultron. I just felt like it was fantastically, for such a huge high-profile summer blockbuster, had a lot of fantastic breathing room, which I really, really appreciated. I mean, that I really appreciated getting on in years now and not caring so much about slam-bang shit. It's just kind of like I really appreciated the character, delves into the character stuff in the breathing room, and just the scenes where they're just sitting around trying to lift a hammer are just some of the best scenes for me. So thank you very much for watching. And Avengers, that was my impression of the end of the movie. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you next time.